Multiple misleading identities, more than 100 host accounts and 18 corporations were created to run an illegal hotel business in Manhattan, according to a lawsuit filed by the city. From the outside, there was nothing especially notable about the small white building on the corner of a cobblestone street in Tribeca. But until recently, it was a crucial location in a sprawling empire. Beautiful loft prime Tribeca 4BR 2BA Sleep 10. Read the listing on Airbnb for one apartment there. Two of the three apartments in the building were popular with tourists looking to stay in one of Manhattan's most desirable neighborhoods. At $600 a night each, they were a bargain for a large group. But they were also illegal, part of an elaborate real estate scheme to make millions by circumventing state and local laws and Airbnb's own rules. The building, on Greenwich Street, was part of a larger enterprise that made more than $20 million in revenue by unlawfully renting 130 Manhattan apartments to almost 76,000 guests through Airbnb, city officials said. The plot was geared toward getting around city regulations that are intended to keep blocks of apartments from being turned into makeshift hotels that avoid lodging taxes and oversight. The crackdown on the empire last month was a milestone in the escalating battle between Airbnb and New York City, the company's largest market in the country. Airbnb condemned the exploitation of its platform, but the scheme showed how the home-sharing site has given opportunists a new kind of hustle. Airbnb has clashed with other cities. Los Angeles, Amsterdam, Paris and Vancouver, British Columbia, have all passed laws restricting Airbnb rentals. In July, Palma de Mallorca became the first city in Spain to ban Airbnb. Interviews and documents offer a glimpse at how the New York scheme worked. According to the suit, the ring used multiple misleading identities to dodge Airbnb's rules, text tourists and book apartments to budget-minded travelers. Addresses were fudged to avoid scrutiny. A cadre of cleaners was apparently recruited through Facebook. In all, more than 100 Airbnb host accounts and 18 corporations were created to run an illegal hotel business that stretched north from Tribeca to Soho, Gramercy, the Upper East Side and Harlem, according to a lawsuit brought by the city. New York regulations are supposed to keep apartments from being pulled out of an already tight rental market to cater to the tourist trade. They specify that it is illegal to rent an entire apartment in most buildings for fewer than 30 days unless the permanent tenant is present while the renter is there. Posting a unit that should not be listed on Airbnb is a civil offense, not a criminal one, and the city typically issues violations that can result in fines of thousands of dollars. Lawsuits are filed in the most egregious of cases. In this lawsuit, the city is seeking more than $20 million from the defendants. At the center of the scheme was Max Beckman, 35, a former real estate broker, according to the lawsuit. Mr. Beckman, who moved to the United States 18 years ago from Israel, was one of 5 people accused. None of them has been found guilty, and the case was continuing. Mr. Beckman agreed to be interviewed, making clear that he believed that he did nothing wrong. "We're not criminals," he said at his lawyer's office, while puffing from a jewel he kept in a black leather pouch fastened to a chain around his neck. He shrugged, "I don't own a yacht or a big penthouse." What he did have was an ambitious, though risky, idea. It was 2012 and Mr. Beckman, in his own telling, was struggling to make it as a real estate broker. He said he had a dismal credit score and $100 to his name when he used that money to pay the application fee for a one-bedroom on the Upper East Side. He began renting it out, short-term, to tourists through Airbnb and pocketed the difference after paying rent. It was a simple business model he would go on to replicate. "It took off, and I made more money, and then I got another one," Mr. Beckman said. "I couldn't stop." In 2015, Mr. Beckman quit his job as a real estate broker for Metropolitan Property Group, a brokerage firm in Manhattan, to devote himself full-time to his Airbnb venture. He persuaded 2 friends who were also brokers at the firm to become his partners, he said. The men, Alon Karasenti and Simon Ida, were also sued by the city. They did not respond to multiple requests for comment. By the end of the year, the trio was managing dozens of listings on Airbnb, including large spaces in some of the city's most sought-after neighborhoods, a penthouse overlooking Central Park, a loft in Chelsea, according to court documents. "We made money, we lost money, we learned," said Mr. Beckman, a self-described disruptive entrepreneur. The lawsuit alleged that Mr. Beckman's former employer, Metropolitan Property Group, and its chief executive officer, Sammy Catry, along with his wife, Shelley Catry, were also involved.